Welcome everybody to week 2 Showdown Fantasy live show. Sorry. We are here. We are back for another week, and let's just have fun, fellas.
That
works.
So let's just get straight into what we came here to talk about. The week 2 showdown with the Bills and Miami. A little bit of news from week 1. Here we go. Some hot button topics here on the page. Our new $60 million a year man, Mr. Dak Prescott. Is he worth $60 million? First question.
No.
What about you, Brad? 60 million, or is it just the market? And are we just setting the market at this point?
I think it's just a matter of trying to push the market for the next person underneath them to be able to kind of get a little bit extra more than what they would. But as far as for the production on the field, you would think he would have a Super Bowl at least appearance prior to sort of honoring that type of contract. But Jerry's won more Super Bowls than me, so maybe he knows more than I do.
I don't know, man. I just feel like he went down to the wire, and it was just one of those things like, oh my God, I got to get a knee-jerk reaction. I paid CeeDee Lamb, so let me pay Dak. I just don't think, 60 million. I guess in my head, he's worth more than Jordan Love, who's 55. But is he?
I don't see how you put a value on somebody who hasn't won you a championship anywhere near 60 million.
Hasn't got to the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's 55 million a year. Everybody forgets about him, and he's been to a Super Bowl. So Dak Prescott hasn't got past the second round?
Just because Burrow gets it. I agree with that one either. But do I think Burrow is better than Dak? Yeah, absolutely.
And that's that. I just feel like that they spend a lot of money and they should win more games than what they do. That's my thing. Like, if you're Dallas Cowboys fans, I hope that you understand that all the money that you put forward, all the money that you make, you should be winning more championships when you have teams that don't have the greatest budget in the world that are out here winning more than you.
I think they start strong like every season and it just goes straight down.
They're regular season MVPs for sure. You can count on them to win.
But now it's not. The Eagles are good, but prior to the Eagles being good, it was pretty easy. Redskins were always shit. Giants hadn't won a Super Bowl in forever, and Eagles weren't doing anything. Then they got Jalen, and now it's a pretty tough division, but Eagles went to the playoffs too, so it's not like came out on top of their division and was any different than anybody else. So
they paid Jalen Hurts, but he was top man there for about 3 days or 4 days, and then guys just started piling on top. So, but I don't think Dak's worth it. So on to another number 4 quarterback here. Deshaun Watson hit with another lawsuit, another one. Supposedly this one is weird. Like, he went to this lady's house. They had a dinner date, and it just went weird from there.
I do like Drake does and put these bitches under contract. Like, if you're gonna be a public figure and can't keep your thing in your pants, dude, you gotta start making these girls sign stuff.
It's rough. I just don't know if I think this might could be his last stop. This is the poor guy. I don't like him. I don't like him at all, and that's being a Houston fan. I don't like him for a lot of reasons, but this just like, I don't even want to see him on my screen. One, because I feel like he's shot as a football player. Like, his confidence is bad. He can't stay healthy. And if last week was any show of how it's going on with him, he's done. Like, it's just, he's just done. Like, he's washed at this point. And I feel like he shouldn't be washed as young as he is, but he feels washed to me.
Yeah, he needs to have an attorney draft him a contract. He can call me. He needs some type of sexual contract. So
your Pistorio law firm plug of the week there, yeah.
Yeah, contract. Do a contract.
Yeah, and kind of shifting that kind of segues us into another legal matter here. Tyreek Hill pulled over right before the game.
I can actually take that one. That's in Florida.
That one was rough. Have you guys seen the body cam footage?
I did. I think that was overly aggressive. But I also think, this comes down to, I don't know why people love to argue with the cops and do stuff like, he told you to put your window down, man. Put your fucking window down. Like,
Yeah.
who cares if you don't have to? Like, look what it turned into because you didn't listen. Right?
I agree. I feel like he was a little bit off base with what
Highway side of the road is not like where you make legal arguments of what your rights are and what cops can and cannot do. You do them in court. So you didn't want to put your window down, but he forced you to. You put your window down, and then you sue him later and tell him that it was an invalid traffic stop. You don't have a lawsuit on the side of the road because it never ends well, and it always ends up with exactly what you saw, like him getting slammed to the ground numerous times. Cop became a dickhead. I think he was already a dickhead. But if he needs an attorney, call me. I can help you with that one. That's Florida. I got you. Get that thrown out real quick.
I mean, it was rough. I mean, they were giving it. It wasn't just. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is Tyreek Hill." Yeah, it's Tyreek Hill. But they were non-discriminate. They were giving shit to Jonnu Smith. I saw it was Jonnu Smith on getting out of the SUV, and then they put the Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell's a huge human being. Like they put him in handcuffs too, and we're screaming at Johnny Smith, "Get in the car! Give me your license! Get in the car!" And I'm like, this could have ended really bad, but it ended a way that
thing right there, like he's arguing, like, why do I have to give you my license? Like, I mean, you just pulled up in a vehicle, you were driving, right? Yeah. Give him your license. Now you're running up on a scene. He wants to know who you are. You made yourself involved. Hand over your license. You don't want to do it. That could have ended up so much worse than it did because you want to have a courtroom battle on the side of the road.
Yeah,
not where that's supposed to be at.
It was a little rough, but I think it turned out for the best for Tyreek Hill in the end. I mean, he blasted out. I told y'all, I either said he was going to be nothing, and I thought he was going to be nothing. The beginning of the game, it looked like he was going to be nothing, and then to Brad's dismay, Tyreek Hill decides to show up and put some work in on the Jags, and that was it was rough.
I feel like he was going slow for a bit. He wasn't doing much.
He wasn't speeding. He wasn't speeding.
He wasn't doing much, and he caught that one play that was like significant.
Was it 90 yards? 80 yards? Something like that?
I just remember looking up like, dude's gone. Like, that's a tutty.
Yeah, it was rough.
Well, you knew, though, going into it, they have a track team, and it was just one play away. That's why you can't make the mistakes they made and try to beat a team like that. And I kind of felt it was going to go more boom than bust. It was just kind of a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, definitely. And then someone else is kind of looking like a bust right now is the number 1 ADP overall pick there, Christian McCaffrey. He didn't show up on Monday night.
The league's about to get sued.
Mason looks good, yo. Mason looks good out there. He was running hard through everything.
And I mean,
it goes to show you too about the running back position. Unfortunately, sometimes the guy that's underneath him, you may not think he's as good as the top tier running back, but then he jumps in behind a good offensive line and a nice scheme, and runs the scheme to perfection and has productive outing.
Yeah, I would say he broke one tackle every time he touched that ball. The first guy who hit him did not take him down, and that's significant for a running back. He was running hard.
Yeah, he looked good out there for sure.
I guess he ended up getting himself in a little bit of trouble when he said that he found out on Friday, but they didn't release the news till Sunday. So I know there's a lot of people now.
Yeah, they said they could have broken a rule.
Upset, and maybe could potentially open them up to be liable. You can't have betting going on and then withhold news that you knew about on Friday when you're putting money down based off of projections.
Yeah.
And so that was a little bit frustrating, I guess from the fantasy standpoint. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who lost games because there was no way to recover on a Monday night, trying to get a suitable running back to play in
And
these 12,
he's
14 man
over
leagues.
owned too. Like he was owned a lot. Like Jordan Mason was owned a lot because a lot of people picked him up right at the end, like right after the drafts
Ah,
happened, and people were like asking questions: should we pick him up? Should we pick him up? And yes, no, maybe not, maybe so. I had the
yeah.
opportunity to pick him up in my work league, and I didn't. I ended up picking up P Ryan instead because I was like, oh
Hmm.
well, the
C-Max good.
Mason, yeah, he's going to be fine because he kept saying, "Oh, I'm going to be fine," and then I bounced my own self there. Luckily, it didn't hurt me because I didn't have him. But anybody that had CMC, man, and you didn't pick up Mason, you are hurt. You were probably hurting a lot. And then some other just quick news is obviously we're going to be without Jordan Love, high draft pick in fantasy quarterback style, for a few weeks. Jake Ferguson, tight end for Dallas, another one hurt, going to be out for a while. Yeah, it was a unforgiving week, I guess. I kind of felt like injuries are starting to become a thing, and I guess obviously it's contact football, and we're going to see those, but it's becoming a thing. So that's really
And I
the
guess
top
at the
end news.
quarterback position, is there a lot of, even for the season long, is there a lot of okay fantasy quarterbacks still remaining, or if you know anything out there as
In
far as that's concerned, or
in waivers, I
for
mean,
the waiver
you're
wire? Yeah.
like, like for our league, it's 14 guys. It's rough. The waiver wire is
Oh,
rough. Now, if you're playing,
it's terrible.
if you're playing in a 10 man or a 12 man, okay, you're gonna in a 12 man, you're seeing guys that are like serviceable there available. It
Yeah,
depends on if you got people that are scooping up lots of quarterbacks. Hell, guys that we even thought were going to be good, like Kirk Cousins, looked like crap. And then you
yeah.
got the
I
Pittsburgh
mean,
Steelers not really knowing who their quarterback was going to be until right before the game. And then they decided it's going to be Justin Fields, and he's probably going to run it back this week, right? So you have those kind of guys out there, but
I'm
Gardner
seeing Derek Carr,
Minshew.
Gardner Minshew, Bryce Young in our 14-man league. I mean, just throwing out. I mean, it's slim pickings, and just to kind of rule a little bit on these 14-man leagues or even 12-man leagues, those waiver wires become slim pickings really quick if you have a fairly knowledgeable team, group of guys and girls you're going against. Typically, those waiver wires are slim pickings. You got to grab
I
and
mean,
go. But
my
again,
little waiver wire pickup column I did there, the best available quarterback that I've seen on the majority out there, and it's
yeah,
because he's only 30%, around 30% owned, 34% owned at that time, was Baker Mayfield, which he went off, right?
yeah, he did.
The Browns look like assholes right at this point because of what they did, trading away everybody, and Houston picks up all the good luck charms, and Baker Mayfield's out here resurrecting his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he was a good pickup. Sam Darnold looks serviceable if he's available. He's probably somebody that you might have to plug and play, especially if you ended up getting Jordan Love with a Justin Jefferson or maybe even a Jordan Addison. He's a great plug and play stack opportunity. Derek Carr are we going to see
Derek
the same
Carr.
Derek? We're going to see the same Derek Carr 2 weeks in a row. And do the Raiders look stupid right now for getting rid of Derek Carr? Phil's
I don't
Saints
know,
out here
man. I
hanging
know it
20.
was, what was it, the Panthers
I don't
last
think
week?
so.
That may not be a serviceable sort of look, but I think that chemistry, I mean, that carries no matter who you're going against. And it just seems like he's got some flow. I mean, Phil could tell us more about that, but it just seems like it's looking a little bit better this year.
It did, but I think he had some games like that last year. So I don't want to give him too much respect until it becomes consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency is key for me. You come out, for example, the Jets came out on that first drive and they looked, I was like, I had bet placed. I was like, damn, dude, the Jets are about to beat the 49ers. And then literally the rest of the 3 hours of the game, they were not able to do anything. And I was like, okay, that was a fluke. That was a fluke drive. So that could be the same thing with, Carr. I don't like him. But if he continues to play like that, maybe I will. I don't know. He was accurate. My man Jay's in the chat. What's up?
What's up, Jay?
But, you know, consistency. I need some consistency. And that's why week 1's so hard. You know, I was taking a gamble with Adams and Minshew for afternoon slate for GPP. Did I think that was going to happen? No, it was a good shot because of their history, but letdown. You know, their history probably founded with a different quarterback.
Yeah, last year was an Aiden O'Connell, right? So like he was sitting there on the sideline, and Minshew always kind of like is one of those guys. I feel like he's like week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's when he gets the motor running. It takes him a game or two to kind of get going, and then he's a steady, consistent, mediocre quarterback. You know, I mean, Brad, you've seen it in Jacksonville at times, and then we saw it last year with Indianapolis. He kept them in games. He was winning them games, but he's just mediocre quarterback, right? Like he's just a mediocre guy.
Yeah. Minshew magic. So I will not put it against me that he is the Millie winning quarterback one time this season.
You talking about Minshew?
Yes. If you want to play him every single week or a couple lineups, one of those lineups is going to hit you some good money because there's a high chance he becomes a Millie winning captain.
I could see him being in a bring back type. I could see him in being a bring back type lineup with the Kansas City Chiefs players or something like that. Like you run him and then a bring back with one of those AFC West teams, and then maybe one of those I'm not familiar with the Raiders.
He had it with the Jags a couple times where he just like pops off. He shows up at the post game interview with like 7 gold chains on and got his chest hair flowing out like he's Don Von Delanucci. Like he's just, it's coming. And if you want to win $1 million, play him every week. And one of the weeks he's going to hit for you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So we can kind of jump like from there to kind of a little bit of where we went right and where we went wrong. A little Millie talk for DFS. We told y'all to target that Jags and Miami game, Houston and Indianapolis, and what else? Bills and Cardinals, right? Those were the 3 big ones we highlighted, okay? In the Millie winning lineup, there were a Bills player, 2 Dolphins players, a Texans player, an Indianapolis player. And then it was filled in with 2 Saints, a Vikings defense, and a Broncos player. So I bring up the Millie lineup here. See if I can get it to pull up.
Yeah, Mixon was a good play. There he popped off. People gonna be all over him next game.
Oh, he's gonna go up. Like,
don't be afraid to replay the letdowns. I will tell you that. So many times I played people and they let me down, and then the following week I was all over all the people that were hot the week before, and it was a letdown who popped off the second week, and then those people that were hot the week before fell off.
So here,
I agree with that. It's actually a couple of people tonight in tonight's, or excuse me, not tonight, but for tonight's talk about, but for tomorrow's matchup, I'm thinking about Keon Coleman. I know last week I was talking about him, and he did end up getting some receptions. It just didn't really pan out overall, but I still believe in that connection and that red zone connection moving forward, especially for tomorrow. I think just as Phil was saying, those sort of letdown players, running back, don't forget about him. Also, I was high on the Trevor Lawrence and also the Evan Ingram. And I was really quoting that. And unfortunately, I think he ended up with 1 reception for 5 yards, I think. So I'll come to the congregation and say, hey, I missed that. The matchup was good with him versus, I think, David Long. But unfortunately, it just seemed like they were going more to the run game than I was expecting. That's just what happens in the sort of the beginning of the game. But I still believe in that Ingram's going to end up having a lot of targets and receptions as we move forward through the season.
Well, that Bill Coleman that you were just talking about, he had the most targets, most receptions that game. So even though he might have been a little fantasy let down, right now he's looking like wide receiver 1. So
he is definitely. Wait till we get till we get to my chalkboard for tomorrow night. I'll fill you in on that one. So
yeah,
obviously,
his ownership right now is not that high neither. So he might be a good captain play.
So it's like we get Josh Allen. I mean, we call Josh Allen. Josh Allen is Josh Allen. I think he's a machine when it comes to fantasy. But the thing is, you'll never get him this cheap again.
No.
Going forward. I mean, this is week 1. This was a great week to play Josh Allen, but you'll never get him this cheap again.
Yeah.
And he's got A-Chain too.
A-Chain, yes. And now he's questionable going in tomorrow night. So we'll get to that when we get to the Miami and Buffalo game. Yeah, it was mediocre. I feel like that's kind of a mediocre performance for him, even though it was 76 yards on a touchdown. Kind of feel like he could have done better. But
I think it was the 7 receptions, though. I mean, you can't beat that, whether it's a receiver, tight end.
Reception on FanDuel, I'm sure he wasn't in the million maker. He didn't get enough points.
Yeah. Now, for all the people out here that said Joe Mixon was washed, everybody, I want everyone to hear this. Everyone that said Joe Mixon was washed, you're wrong. I tried to tell you guys he was running back 6 last season in fantasy. Over 1,000 yards and had tons of receiving yards. And you bring him here where we're going to throw you the ball and run the ball, and now he's a running back that's competent to run this type scheme. It tells you what it is. Again, like Phil just said, you'll never get him this cheap again.
No.
Never. No. He's going to be 7,000, 7,500 plus probably next week if it's not already put out there.
I guess looking at the Millie lineup, was Reynolds then, I guess, your get different or sort of your...
He's got to be half a percent owned.
Yeah, he's got to be. He was 4,200, it looks like. I mean, there's 3 people in that lineup that I didn't get to. None of us got to. That's him, Alex Pierce, and Juwan Johnson. Like, you can get to Alex Pierce, but the other 2, man, that's just... I think that's that luck. You need a little bit of luck in this. It's not all skill, dude. You need a little bit of luck, and he got it because Juwan Johnson is known for getting touchdowns. He's known for getting that kind of point.
But it's kind of showdowns. I always see him doing that in showdowns, like with the Saints involved.
History against Carolina, my man does not score on that. He does not score on them. I literally X'd him out of my player pool looking at their history. So there's no way I get the Juwan Johnson. There's no way I get the Reynolds. Pierce, you can get there because we called that game and we said that as a game to play. The only problem is I didn't get to him. I got to everybody else on that receiving core, just not him. And it makes sense, right? We talk about all the time. You want to get different? Right there. That's off of Pittman and that's off of the other guy we called AD
Mitchell, yeah.
And AD Mitchell was overthrown in the end zone and overthrown for another play that would have been a touchdown, and he would have broke the slate. And we literally would have called that. And his whole lineup would have been different.
Pierce, when I saw him score that touchdown, I was going ballistic because I'm like, the 2 touchdowns that he got and Ashlyn Doolin got took touchdowns away from Mitchell.
Yeah.
And the 2 that he missed.
Fucking threw him. He literally was wide open in the end zone and overthrew him. Wide open. Then he was wide open on another play, overthrew him. And I'm like, dog. Like, Mitchell was the right play. Quarterback couldn't hit him.
Yeah, Jay. They play on Sunday night. The Texans play the Bears on Sunday night. So yeah, you're right. They're not on the main slate this week.
Literally, Richardson reminded me of Trevor Lawrence watching him overthrow those plays, and I'm like, even the commentators were like, "Oh, he's gonna want that one back." Like, you think? I want that one back.
It's the tendency to throw on the back foot, which is going to elevate the ball and force you to overthrow the ball virtually every time. A lot of the times, Richardson's throwing off his back foot. Same thing for Trevor Lawrence, if you look. And so a lot of times the ball is overthrown.
But there's quite a few like under 1% owned guys in this lineup. So that's a little bit of the luck. Now, second place, it's not on here, but second place, they only lost by 2 1/100th of a point. And it's a totally different lineup. It's Baker Mayfield, Kenneth Walker III, Joe Mixon, okay, Chris Godwin, there's your Buccaneers stack, Tyreek Hill, okay, we see the same there, Alec Pierce again, Brock Bowers, J.K. Dobbins, and then the Bengals defense, who did virtually nothing. He could have had the Vikings defense for cheaper, which was the Bengals defense was 3,800. Vikings defense is 3,600. He could have had the Vikings defense and smacked this guy. Been in $1 million by himself.
Also, that's important to note too that you just called out. This winning lineup does not have a game stack.
None.
So it doesn't even have a stack.
There's no bring back in it. Or I guess a bring back maybe if you decided to say Houston and Indianapolis, but that's not considered an actual stack and a bring back.
Like a counter stack in there, but he doesn't have a pair with Allen. He doesn't have a bring back from Arizona. So this lineup is like one of those that I can guarantee you this guy did maybe 150 max, or he had multiple lineups to use an optimizer, and he didn't set any rules to pair a player with. Because if you're handcrafting, you do not make this lineup. It's just not.
I think the number means it's 2, right?
You can run Allen naked and that's straight, but if you run Allen naked, you don't end up with a lineup that looks like this if you're handcrafting. And if you're running Allen naked, you're probably handcrafting.
Yeah, that for sure for this one.
And I would say necessarily running Allen naked is possible, but it's always better to have at least one with him. You don't need 2 with him like other quarterbacks, but he'll take somebody with him usually. It's just used to be Diggs. He don't have Diggs no more. So
the third place guy lost by 72 100ths. So they're literally the first 3 places were separated by 72 100ths of a point, and the third place, it was a Baker Mayfield, Rashid White,
again,
Rashad White, Joe Mixon, Mike Evans. He ran 4 Buccaneers players. Mayfield, White, Evans, Godwin,
going against that Washington defense.
He was well than that, dude.
Yeah,
but he felt really good about that matchup. It almost won him $1 million too. So I guess he was almost there. He was almost right.
I won him 100,000. So there you go. But
okay. So yeah, it worked. I mean, it worked.
The constant through all 3 of these lineups is this man right here, Joe Mixon. Constant in one of the games we called, and then you've had him intermix between the Arizona Buffalo game with Allen and Khalil Shakir in the third place one, and then it just kind of went from there. I mean, obviously the teams that have won it big were because these they had the Bears defense, which had 24 points. So that's a big one.
So Joe Mixon is what, 6,000 there?
6,600, yeah.
He ended up getting 6,600, and he ended up getting 29 points. So then I guess it would then. I know, Phil, a lot of times you bring up about, how much is the value in comparison to, how much points they end up ultimately needing to get to justify the value. So I'm taking the 66 does justify what he ended up getting.
It's almost 2x.
29.
Yeah, you're looking at about 4x value, 4x plus. As you get later in the season or like weeks where there's a lot of high scoring, you're gonna need 5x, 6x value. I was actually surprised to see Tyreek Hill in the Millie lineup just because he did not hit value. But that's a good reason why we talked about pivoting off of Tyreek Hill, right? We said he's gonna need to get you about 32 points plus to be in a Millie winning lineup. Yeah. He got 29 and he got you there, and I know we can't say, if he didn't get that one pass, he wouldn't have got it, but because that's with every player. But at the same time, he was not doing shit that was expected of him that game until that play. If that play didn't happen, he wouldn't even be in this lineup. So there's more reason to pivot. So is Mixon. We talked about that Houston game, and it's going to be, shootout between the receivers. A great pivot off of Nico Collins and all them was going to the run game. There it is. Run game is in the Millie making lineup, right? Mixon gets the touchdowns instead of the receivers.
And the thing is, he also got that one extra bonus there, that over 100 yards rushing. That's crucial. I mean, that bonus
Oh, you
helped.
get additional points for the
3
Yeah.
100
points.
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Over
I
100
wasn't
rushing
aware of
yards.
that.
It's a bonus.
3-point bonus
Yeah.
for over 100 rushing yards.
And that separates this guy from fourth place. That bonus. So, but
Very
yeah,
similar.
that's the Millie. So a
It's
little
about
bit of
tomorrow's game.
yeah. So what we actually came to talk about tomorrow's game against the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen and the Tua Tagovailoa's Miami Dolphins running the throwback uniforms. Piece of trivia
Let's
here:
go.
Josh Allen has never beaten the Dolphins when the Dolphins wear the throwback uniforms. Saw that yesterday, and I was like, "What?" So if I am
The fact
incorrect,
that
please, a
that's the
Dolphins
stat.
fan, let me know. Let me know. But he has never beaten the Dolphins in the Dolphins throwback uniforms.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very.
Another little fact is, besides the throwbacks, he's 10-2 with 38 total touchdowns and a passer rating of 110 every time he plays the Dolphins. And he's thrown for multiple touchdowns in all 12 times that he's played them. So keep that in mind as well, that this could be high scoring, because if he does all that, stays consistent, and he
48 and a
loses
half. 48 and a half.
I mean, Tua or somebody on the other side is popping off right back.
So some crucial things that people need to keep in mind here is the injury report. Okay. So on the Bills side, I noticed they said this on Sunday that Josh Allen, he hurt his left hand. He went full practice all week, but and it's in his throat and his away in his offhand, but still that little bit of twinge can bother you just a little bit. It's full practice, but I'm sure they'll have him juiced to the gills and he'll be totally fine, perked out of his mind, right? But
beer in his hand, he'll be all right.
On the Bills side, Taron Johnson, one of their starting corners, is going to be out with a forearm injury. So there's your feeder pool to the wide receivers there in Miami. And then they have Dwayne Smoot, one of their defensive end, is out as well. And then their other defensive end, Javon Solomon, is doubtful. And then on to the really ones that really matter. Devon Achane did not practice today and is questionable with an ankle injury. And then
Didn't
Raheem
he practice
Mostert.
yesterday though?
It
Cody,
says,
didn't he practice the day before or no?
I am not 100%
I
sure.
heard reports where he was. He did practice the day before.
Let's look.
Yeah, Mostert is
I
out.
just don't want people to think that he's been out of practice.
According to,
he is absolutely questionable, and Mostert is out. He got reps in on Wednesday's practice.
That's
what
what
it is.
Officially
That's
listed.
today. No, he got a little bit of reps in. Doesn't mean he was a significant participant.
I mean, his ankle is.
We've seen this before though with him, gone out because of an injury.
That's another guy I didn't touch this year in fantasy just for the simple reason that people kept asking, "Hey, should I get him?" And I'm like, him and Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua. I told you people not to draft Puka Nacua, and you did it anyway. And what happens? And then now Devon Achane is a ticking time bomb.
Well, Achane won me first place last year, and I paired him with Mostert. You might be able to pair Achane with Jeff Wilson Jr.
Jalen Wright.
And hit this. No, I don't think you're going to go that far in the depth. I wouldn't. If you want to play GPP and put him in there in a couple, yeah, but I think Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to be the primary workhorse in this game. That's where I'm going to be gone.
I mean,
I picked up Jeff Wilson in the season long today. Actually, just in case, because I saw that A-Chain was questionable and I have him in my season long.
Yeah, he might pop off. I'm actually debating on running Jeff as a captain tomorrow. Because, I think I saw it somewhere. Miami, when they have a showdown, their running back is in 24% of the winning lineup as a captain. Now, it's probably A-Chain or Mostert or both. But if Mostert's out and A-Chain is limited, I don't think they step away from, their run game. We saw that with Mostert. When Mostert went out, we all saw what A-Chain did, and that's what got him to where he's at, right? So they didn't step away from their game plan to keep running the ball. They just did it for somebody else.
My thing with Jalen Wright, I know you said you don't think it's going to go that way, but I'm going to take you on a little narrative here, okay? So last season, Devon Achane did the exact same thing. He was inactive in week 1, okay? Inactive, coach's decision, rookie inactive in week 1. After that, he did this. Then he got his chance and put up 3 100-yard rushing games in his first 4 games. Okay. Jalen Wright, Brad and I have watched him. He was one of our honorable mention rookies coming into fantasy this season. The dude can fly. He flies. He's as fast as Achane. He's as fast as Reek. Dude can fly. If he gets that, he's going to be with that guy. He gets that one attempt. If Achane's out tomorrow, and he's going to be the next big thing there. It's the track. The whole track.
I think you play him with Jeff, but if Achane is in, I don't think you go that far. I think you just go to exposure to Jeff.
I think you have to get. I think you, and that might be something I differentiate with you a little bit on tomorrow. But I think if even with Achane, if he's questionable with an ankle, you got to have some exposure to Jalen Wright. You have to.
It also depends on how many lineups you're doing. In my 20 max, I might have one lineup with him in it. If you're doing 150, maybe it's 10. If you're doing like 3 lineups, I don't think you play him.
Oh no, if you're doing a handful, no, probably not. But if you're, unless something comes out between now and the game start and he's getting the starting touches, so we'll let you know that, everybody know that beforehand. But I like him a lot.
New over here, Johnny Smith plays from Jay in the chat. I don't know about that. Let's see. Did he do anything?
I like the Miami receivers a little bit more of a play than going to the tight ends. There may be some space against that Buffalo defense.
I saw your guy Braxton Berrios miss a pass.
I agree with you.
I guess you want to get different though with Berrios. He does do the punt returns as well. If you only have a little bit of money, I think he's the number 3 receiver as well. And so, he could get open tomorrow if you just need you only have a little bit of money. And when you're doing that lineup, he might be a little guy to throw in a get different play. I guess another also get different play is Dalton Kincaid. He didn't come off a strong performance last week, but it was kind of a little bit more of what Phil was talking about. I just really like that a little bit. That matchup against the Dolphins again. I said it last week. I thought it might be there with the Jaguars, but I also see it a little bit here as well. That might be a friendlier matchup, kind of way to get different.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, there's no Malik Washington, so there's nobody competing with. Literally, the Dolphins have a whole 1, 2, 3. They have 5 wide receivers on their depth chart.
And they only throw it to Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
So they have 5. And then, I saw the game and I saw them go towards Berrios and Tua overthrew him twice that I saw. And but there's no backup to Braxton Berrios tomorrow, no Malik Washington. So you're going to be running 3 out. And so that kind of puts me to the fact of they got to. Yeah. And I don't dislike Jonnu Smith. I think you could get some exposure to him because like Jay said, they got to throw the ball to somebody other than those 2. But the corners over on the Bills side, obviously they did shut out Marvin Harrison Jr., but they didn't shut out everybody.
They still gave up what was that 32 points last week?
Yeah, and if it wouldn't have been for Matt Prater messing up the kick and them getting the ball at the 40-yard line or whatever he did, they might have won that ball game.
I also think we looked at players, like I said earlier, that didn't show out in week 1, like a Dalton Kincaid. People tend to be like, oh, he shit the bed, I'm not playing him. And get all over it, right? Because if Dalton Kincaid was like a disastrous week 1, so a lot less people are going to be on him. You get in there, put him in, 60% of your lineup, and he pops off. Easy money day.
Yeah, so I mean, you got they gave up quite a few, and somebody that we kind of I kind of alluded to him was like the James Conner effect, right? And we thought James Conner was going to be nothing because we thought Buffalo was going to run off with the ball game. Now this could be totally different because this is, as we say, this is a Thursday night game. This is division rivals. Things could just go totally out of hand. But the running back plays there in Miami could be beneficial to everybody. I think for sure because of what James Conner did.
Yeah, he was popping off. I didn't see that happening either. But yeah, the fact that he showed that Buffalo is weak against the run is all more reason to play these running backs.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we play them, Jay. They don't throw the ball to them in the red zone, so people are going to see that. They're not going to play. This is a showdown. Remember, we discussed this, Jay. Showdowns play exactly the opposite that they should. Every time.
Yeah. I mean, in this one in particular, I feel like is going to be one of those because Josh Allen has this weird knack to playing just kind of sometimes disgusting on Thursday nights on primetime games. Like he's like monsterish during the week, like the regular weekend games. And then sometimes he like comes out and like has a bigger game than ever on a weekend, on a primetime game. And then he just kind of like sometimes fizzles out. Like he did that time against the Patriots, where it was like, he just didn't even show up to the ball game. Now we know Tua's record on Thursday night's games. He's had great games and then he's been concussed, right? So I think this game's, I think it's got to be a track meet. It's got to be. I feel like it's going to live up to that 48.5 for sure.
And I think their last 20 games, neither team has had a tight end as their captain in a showdown win. Neither team has had a kicker as the captain in a showdown win. I think your focus here needs to be wide receivers and running backs. And you could do Josh Allen as a captain play, but that's probably going to be a little chalky, might be a little high owned, especially considering his history. If you're playing FanDuel, absolutely Josh Allen in the captain spot.
And remember, guys, FanDuel changed the rules this year. FanDuel now offers that same bonus, even though they're half PPR, they offer that same bonus that DraftKings does. The receiving bonus, the passing bonus, and the rushing bonus. So that same extra point bump that you would only ever get in DraftKings, FanDuel offers that same thing now. So if you're playing in FanDuel, we used to be like, oh, you only want touchdowns. You want guys that are going to get in the end zone because it's half PPR. But if you can get a guy that's going to get lots of volume and lots of yards and touches, it might level itself out a little bit more to lend to what you would see more in DraftKings. But those bonuses help. Like that Joe Mixon, for example. Yeah, he got in the end zone, but he also got the bump. Tyreek Hill got the bump too in receiving. So those extra points help.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure, Jay. 28 points. It's got to be. And I feel like that Miami is Mike McDaniel's seen Buffalo enough now to he's like, okay, I'm done messing around with Buffalo. This has got to be, and what the AFC East is, all three teams are 1-0 except for the Jets, and the Jets, I don't know what happened to the Jets, but the Jets just were the same old Jets to me. But I mean, I think it's got to be, you got to assert dominance in this division, and it's going to be tomorrow night, I think, for sure.
Over under is 49 points. I mean, Vegas has got it being pretty high scoring as well. But that's just all the more reason to do a lineup where the game plays slow, right? Where the game is field goals, maybe a couple rushing touchdowns, defensive plays, where it's just no action, right? You saw the way Josh Allen started against the Cardinals. That could be a game-long thing in Miami, and Miami could be doing the same thing right back, and it's ultimately be a shit game. So while everybody's over here projecting it to be a high-scoring game and picking all the wide receivers, picking all the quarterbacks, get a couple lineups in there that are like kickers, defense, and running backs. I think there's like a common win that I've seen people do where they do two kickers, two running backs, two defenses, and they run that lineup, and it's run before.
I mean, here, according to what some projections that we're looking at right now, the highest owned guys in these are not captain spaces by any stretch. This is in the flex. Are these six guys right here? Tyreek Hill, Josh Allen, Tua, Jalen Waddle, James Cook, and Keon Coleman. I mean, like you guys said, the Keon Coleman effect is in full effect. You know, like the kid was underdrafted in the NFL draft. He was supposed to be a first rounder, and he ended up going in the second. I think that he fits. Like, he's a big body receiver, and he's got talent. And I think that he's what Josh Allen needs. And once he gets that full-fledged like cohesion down, I think that we're going to be seeing his name pop up way more than anybody else, I think.
Yeah, he's only 7% owned in the captain right now as an estimate, so that's not very high. Jeff Wilson's only coming in at 1% in the captain spot, so keep that in mind. A-Chain comes in for a drive, injures himself and just decides to sit out. That's a significant bump to Wilson, and then you're right, Jalen Wright or whatever his name is. I know y'all seen Sean Payton step up on his sunglasses, dude. My man used to wear those like little tinted sunglasses. My boy Jason used to make fun of them, and now he's got the Oakley ones. Still self-tint, but they're Oakley. Sean Payton, that's in his game.
Mike McDaniel looks like he belongs in South Beach, though, man. Like, he just looks the part. Like, at first I thought he looked like a nerd, but like, dude, like, I just feel like it's growing on him. Like, the more and more he's there.
They meme that. They said Miami can look what Miami's done to somebody in 2 years, and it showed him as a nerd, and then it showed him he's got the perm where it drips down, he's got the glasses on, he's all tan, and it's like the Miami effect, right? He's definitely blending in now.
Yeah, and that dude went to Ivy League school, man. So I'm like,
he went to Yale.
Yeah,
he went to Yale. So and he got this job like randomly, right? Wasn't he like a water boy or something?
No, he was a water boy like back in the day, but he was an offensive coordinator there in San Francisco. So that's why he's been everywhere Kyle Shanahan was for years, like literally, because Kyle Shanahan's dad, Mike, gave him his first kind of like gig as a water boy or ball boy or something there in Denver when he was there. And like, he's kind of owed his like, would say like his professional career to the Shanahans, and that's kind of how it is. But like for years there, it was like, oh, the Bill Belichick tree or the Bill Walsh tree, or now it's Andy Reid tree or the Sean McVay tree. The Kyle Shanahan effect is in full effect. Like right now, I mean, you got D'Amico and Bobby Slowick here in Houston, and you got Mike McDaniel down there, and I mean, it's growing. Like he's putting them out, dude. So I think it's pretty cool. I
He's
like
young.
Mike McDaniel for sure.
Only like 40 years old or something, so
Who?
he's young.
Mike McDaniel?
Yeah,
He's in his late 30s, maybe. He's like the late 30s. Like he isn't much older than us.
He is
He might be 40.
41. 41.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now he's young. He's hip. He's out there in Miami, probably living it. So
Yeah, he's pretty cool guy. I mean, like, who wins tomorrow?
Shit. I'm gonna go with Miami at home.
What about you, Brad?
Struggle Buffalo just had scares me. So Miami.
I like Miami as well. I like Miami.
Yeah,
I think it's close though. I think it's close though. But it's a good. If you even a casual football watcher, this is a great game to just to jump into and watch football, man. I think a lot.
2.5
what is it? 49
difference.
points over
Yeah.
under. I think we're in for a really good game. I think this might be one of the games where it's the last quarterback with the ball wins type situation. So that's great to see. So I'm just really looking forward to a great game.
2.5 point favorite. Miami are 2.5 point favorites tomorrow.
Yeah. So it's I think I'm gonna run with that. Like I said, it could be wrong. It could have been wrong information, but Miami running the throwback uniforms. I think that they're gonna perform there at Hard Rock on the South Beach. So I think they're good. Jay, I don't dislike that by any stretch of the imagination. But
not bad.
Three.
Last quarterback wins.
We needed Jay to come in because I think we're all Miami, so we needed someone to come in and pick the opposite for us, so it's not a straight line. As they always say on game day, you always start looking around when everyone's picking the same team. So I'm happy Jay came through for us.
Yeah, I agree with Brad though. I think his last QB to touch the ball wins that game. So,
I mean, essentially they changed the overtime rule for Josh Allen. Okay. Literally, it's the overtime rule changed because of him. And so I think my thing is here, I feel like this has to be a track meet, because if it's not, then it's going to be just like any old other game. But I feel like it's got to be in that sense. You got like Brad said, Braxton Berrios is your kick returner, punt returner. So he's got that. And we've seen this kickoff already produce touchdowns, and we've also seen this kickoff massively impact games like it did for Buffalo. Okay.
Captain Spot Berrios?
Huh?
Captain Spot Berrios?
Super get different.
I mean, that's if you're
Millie for all the Millies?
Yeah, he could win you. He could win you $1 million with being in a captain spot for sure. Doing that if
he can get one receiving, he can get one special teams, and it's all over but the crying at that point. Because if he does that, he's in the nuts, and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
His girl is an influencer, so the NFL might write up that script, man. You got to get that script going. So if they could just write up one script for Braxton, maybe tomorrow night in prime time.
Yeah.
You know how it works like that.
Yeah,
I don't know this guy who's
scripted, I think, dude. So that's why I said they never play the way you think. Always different. It could be a shootout. It's going to be some random shit. It's going to be Berrios. It's going to be defensive touchdowns. It's going to be stuff we didn't expect.
I want to see.
But we have seen quarterbacks struggle across the league. So just like Phil was saying earlier, if you want to get different, this probably might be the week as quarterbacks still try to figure out these defenses, what they're doing, catch up to the speed of the game.
Yeah.
I know what Ray Davis did, because I want to see what he did. Because now I'm wondering. Running back, Control F. Let's see.
Lots of different ways to be different. Don't forget Marcus Valdez Scantling too. Straight turd.
A guy that'll straight ruin your lineup one way or the other. You put him in your lineup and he wins it, but you didn't put him as the captain, or because he ends up being the captain. I don't know, man. He's
him. It looked like Curtis Samuel lost his spot at wide receiver 3. If he had that spot to begin with, I don't know.
I just feel like Curtis Samuel's one of those guys.
Mac Hollins got a touchdown. He got more time on the field. He got more.
Because he's a big body, and I don't care. I feel like Josh Allen likes those dudes that are big body receivers. He liked Stephon Diggs because Stephon Diggs kind of was in the middle. He's tall enough for him to be able to throw to, but he's a kind of a smaller guy. But Mac Hollins is tall. I think he's like what, 6'4", 6'5".
5 for Mets lineup tomorrow too.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I got asked today, like, should I start Shaquille Shakir? And I was like,
yeah, that's tough.
Man, he
gotta play him tomorrow in DPS if you're doing multiple lineups, but it depends on the person's league scoring, depends on their other lineup. It's so many factors to play with.
I don't know if I was like, it was him, or a lot of people are asking, should I get rid of Drake London? And I'm like, don't do that knee jerk shit already. Like it's just week 1.
You need to relax.
Calm down.
London's good. He's always good for at least 3 or 4 games that are just even above the fantasy levels performances. And so I would say hold on to him. Or if you're in the daily fantasy, just keep playing him. Kind of like what Phil was saying with the Minshew. I think eventually he's going to be on that with the main slate. He's going to be on that that Millie lineup.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. I mean, I think Kirk Cousins, him got to get it down. Kirk Cousins looks rough. And of course, I didn't expect him to look great coming back from Achilles injury. Hell, Aaron Rodgers had his at the first week of the season, 4 plays in. And I still felt like listening to him talk yesterday on a Pat McAfee show, he was just happy to even be out there as a 40-year-old quarterback that just tore his Achilles. That Achilles factory for sure, dude, is putting him out though. Aaron Rodgers, J.K. Dobbins looked like a freaking stud. He was like, if he's available on your waiver wire, he wasn't in my column because he's above 30% owned. But if he's available in your waiver wire and he was available in your waiver wire, you should have grabbed him. That's just a crazy thing because I feel like Harbaugh's finna feed that man. Gus Bus, get out of here with a Gus Bus. But I think J.K. Dobbins, he's good until he's not. So, Drake London is slow. He can't get separation. They don't really need that though.
I just think he just needs to get chemistry with Cousins, and it's a wrap. Cousins can throw the ball. We saw what he was able to do with Jefferson. He's just got to get a little chemistry there, learn the route, the timing. Don't matter if he's slow. All he's got to do is throw the ball before he's open, and they just get that chemistry to go every time.
Yeah, I like that for sure. Well, I know we got 20 people in the house. 20 people in the house. Appreciate y'all watching. If you guys got questions, I mean, we ready for y'all to fire them away. I mean, it seems like Jay's the only one want to talk in the comments tonight. I know people want to know things. I know y'all have questions. I know we had some stuff. People asked me today, what do I think about the Browns? I mean, not the Browns, the Giants brown pants combination. I thought the helmet looked dope, but the pants looked like, I know they tried to make it look like 100 years ago or whatever, but it looked terrible.
Anybody needs to change it's them and their colors. That shit is gross.
Whoever decided that should be the outfit should have been fired like a couple of days ago. That's unacceptable to put that on the screen. And you have 21 million people watching you look like a clown and play like a clown. That's just not right. That's abuse.
Poor Malik Neighbors. Don't abandon him yet either.
This is what, though, I have fear of a little bit when we talked about this in the offseason about Malik Neighbors, that I had a fear he would go to the New York Giants, and I had a fear it would be this. But maybe they can draw it up.
Danny Dimes, get out of here. bring in Drew Lock. I know you got him as your backup. Put Drew Lock in. It can't get any worse. Or even bring back Tommy Cutlets. Okay, bring back Tommy Cutlets. I know he made your 53-man roster, so put him in. You can't get any worse than Daniel Jones. Dude sucks. He is terrible.
Yeah, team sucks. So I think that goes back to what Jay was saying a little bit ago about London, is that those players on that team, they can't get separation. They can't get open.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just a Danny Dimes thing. I just think their receivers are just dog shit.
I mean, Malik
Play
Davis is
calling is
good,
not
and he's a
accurate.
rookie, but they're expecting him to lift the heavens.
Yeah, but they're
And-
expecting Danny Dimes. He got to run every goddamn play because they can't get no coverage. People
And
can't
they
get
got
open.
they have the best offensive line they've had since Eli Manning was there. This offensive line is not terrible now. Daniel Jones is just shit, and Daboll is a terrible head coach.
Well,
Go back to being an offensive coordinator. Like, you suck as a head coach.
At this point, it's just now who you want to choose from the new quarterbacks coming in. What is it, Shador or Quinn? Or it's at this point, that's what you're playing for.
Yeah,
I mean,
or
for
Beck,
the
Dalton
Giants.
Beck, or
It's your Beck. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those guys. To me, I feel like if you grab them today and threw them in, they would do a lot better of a job on this Sunday than what Daniel Jones is going to give you. Just honestly.
what's up? So, are we consensus that the Giants are the worst team in the league, or is it the Panthers? Ooh, I feel like I gave you some gasoline, Marcus. If you're watching,
you see, I wrote on his wall. First thing I did, I hooked that L. You know, he's always quick to type on my wall when Carolina does something. I'm like, man, all right, you done woke the bull up. Now I'm coming at you. Saints Nation, baby, we look sharp.
Danny, yeah, right. I don't know, man. I don't know who gave him that nickname, but that's terrible. No, now we're up to 24 people. I know people got stuff to say. Y'all got questions. Jay can't be carrying the chat.
Y'all got dissenting opinions.
Yeah, like, tell us what you really think. Tell us how you did. Did you win? Did you lose? Were you one of the Millie? Did you win the Millie? We want to know if you won the Millie, because we're not asking for a cut of it. We just want to know if you won.
Yeah. Or big payouts. Big payouts are always hit too in my book. I lost.
I didn't do very well either. I mean, I put 5 lineups in the Millie because it was only $5. It's the cheapest we're gonna get it that low all season. But
990,000 people in there. I was like, sheesh.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why you got that random ass player in that winning lineup. That's what you need to win. There's 990,000 people in there.
Yeah.
You need that. You ain't beating 1 million people with chalk. No. You need some random ass shit to happen.
Luck of the draw. Luck of the draw. 100% luck of the draw.
One of those turds from a random team that don't cost much and game scripted in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I guess if nobody really has comments, I guess we can adjourn the session. Yeah. And I mean, give us your thoughts, man. We want to hear comments. We want to see what y'all got. Hit us up on the socials. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're YouTube, TikTok. Like, tell us what you think.
Follow, subscribe, share, tune in, share your lineup. Let us know how you did. Stay in touch.
Yep. And we will see you guys later.
Good luck tomorrow.
Tell us how you did.